Would you support any gun reform?
I do. As far as, for example, the Uvalde, I do not believe that young man, I mean, yes, 18 is legal adult. You can go in the military. You can, fight for our country. That's okay. You can't buy alcohol. Why should you be able to buy weapons at 18?
As far as a reform, I don't think what the liberal Democrats are looking to do is the right thing. I mean, it is our rights to have the ability to have a firearm. So I think what they're trying to do is a little much of an overkill.
It's a tool. And I mean, I work with dangerous tools all the time. I got nail guns, I've got hammers, I've got multiple chainsaws at home. I'm more scared of my chainsaw than any of my firearms. I make one little oops with a chainsaw, I'm, gonna have trouble writing my name again.
Polls show that the majority of Americans, 89%, support expanded background checks. Background checks for all gun sales.
I don't have a problem with, that's one thing I don't have a problem with. Yeah, look at somebody, if they're convict or they've, pedophile, whatever, have a history of violence. Darn right. I don't, by being a bad person, you've given up your right to a freedom. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Is the NRA's grip on right-wing politics weakening? It might be. I'm Yasmin Khan with Rebel HQ, and following a long holiday weekend of mass shootings and a gun convention right here where I live in Houston, eyes are on the NRA and its money-back politicians who are standing in the way of gun reform in the United States. It's a story that we're used to hearing, to the point that it feels ridiculous to just be going through all the same motions all over again. If someone's response is so painfully predictable, is it even worth issuing a response anymore? I mean, do we really need another statement from Mitch McConnell or Ted Cruz about how senseless gun violence is in this country? Is anyone looking to any of these so-called leaders for guidance and comfort during this time? Or are their words so incredibly empty and pointless that it's insulting that they still bother to say them with the expectation that people can't see through them? But I know, they have to do the thing. They have to respond or else they get chastised for not responding. And honestly, I've never really understood that. We all know that their responses are canned and fake, so who really cares whether or not they do the dance once the music kicks on? It's like, just have a seat since you're not going to commit anyway. You're not doing anything that we haven't seen before. But people rightfully want action from their legislators, but we're tired of performative condolences that do nothing in the face of real danger. These paid politicians aren't here to serve us anymore, so appealing to their humanity, shaming them for their greed, and countering their hate with logic are all ineffective ways of enacting change. And it's so boring to say at this point, but really, you have to hit their pockets. And that is where the NRA comes in.
The National Rifle Association, also the NRA called, has been a key player in those battles, particularly at the federal level. John Yang looks now at the organization and its influence.
Judy, the NRA's blessing or opposition has meant passage or defeat for gun legislation over the years, as the group argues the supremacy of the Constitution's Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. In a statement today, the NRA said its deepest sympathies are with the families and victims involved in this horrific and evil crime. The statement never mentions the weapon used, saying instead that while an investigation is underway and facts are still emerging, we recognize this was the act of a lone, deranged criminal.
Okay, you know how when people get caught in a lie, or let's not even say a lie, let's just say an illogical argument, and instead of admitting their moment of weakness, they instead choose to just double down and go with it, even if it means gaslighting people and humiliating themselves because their horrid Machiavellian brains are so focused on their end goal? Well, that is what we're seeing with the GOP right now.
I would like to propose to the entire left that we stop using the term gun control. Nobody likes to be controlled. It's terrible rhetoric. How about instead we use the term gun responsibility? Make politicians come out and say, I don't believe in gun responsibility. They're not going to say it because you can't say that and sound sane.
After the horrible massacres that took place in Buffalo, New York, and just this past week in Uvalde, Texas, where so many innocent lives were taken for absolutely no reason, over Memorial Day weekend, there were 14 mass shootings recorded, meaning 4 more people were shot. And that took 9 lives, as well as over 60 people being injured. And I think that, it's interesting to see in, you look at a lot of the charts that track people's attention and how much social media is talking about these issues. And the reality is that when, the talk of the town dips on the issue of gun control, it's not that nobody cares. It's just that this happens so often and so frequently. And it's taken place across the majority of our lifetimes. Ever since I've been growing up, even before the talk of, mass shootings was as popular as it is now, we grew up around that just in our backyards every day. So the thing is that this is such a common occurrence, but now going into the midterms, this is definitely going to be one of the biggest issues, along with abortion rights.
I live in a rural place in a purple state, and I know people who feed their families through hunting. As much as leftists like me don't like to admit it, there are millions of conservative gun owners in this country who believe in gun responsibility. They don't want anyone to get hurt.
And as I'm sure you all have seen over the past weekend at the NRA conference that Trump spoke at, where he was, talking nonsense, talking about our schools need to be hardened and basically, just making our schools basically like prisons all over the United States like they are in a lot of inner city areas, which wouldn't work. But let that alone. Let's not forget that no guns were allowed at the NRA convention. The organization that invests so much money into politics that keeps our gun control legislation at a complete standstill in the Senate. That being said, there's no guns allowed at the convention. Why? Because they know good and well that guns are dangerous, and in the hands of people who are not properly trained or who maybe aren't in their right minds, it can be very, very dangerous. So the issue is well known, even by the people who perpetrate the issue, even by the people who are the most responsible, which are the gun manufacturers in this country. So, again, going into the midterms, this is going to be one of the loudest things that's talked about policy-wise.
So why are we using rhetoric that is intentionally polarizing? My fellow Americans, we are going to pass effective gun responsibility laws. And if you can't get behind that, we are watching you like a hawk.
And with the Senate taking a 2-week recess, not coming back until June 6th, it's obvious that they're hoping that, the talk dies down by the time they get back and that they won't have to truly press with it. Not because none of them care. Most of them don't care, that's true. But even the ones who do care, they know that, what are you really going to do? You have too much corruption in the system. You have way too much money from gun manufacturers clogging up the pipes. And what can really happen? So this really circles back around to what we here at TYT talk about all the time, is that the main issue in our political system is that there's way too much legalized bribes, legalized corruption. There's way too much money coming from corporations, specifically through super PACs, that really don't allow for good and responsible legislation to be passed on gun control or pretty much anything else. All the biggest issues that we're facing, the things that this country needs to tackle in order to make ourselves truly what we claim to be, which is number one, there has to be something done about the corruption in the system.